This February 11th, we'll be focusing on disability and Black women. Content warning. This video will talk about domestic violence and the Black women history makers who survived it but became disabled in the process. Did you know that Halle Berry is a disabled woman who made history as the first Black woman to win an Academy Award for Best Actress? She uses hearing aids at occasions since she lost 80% of her hearing in one ear from being abused by an ex-boyfriend. Domestic abuse can cause disabilities, and disabled women are statistically more likely to become domestic violence victims. If you come from an abusive household, you're more likely to end up in an abusive relationship, and this was the case for Halle Berry, who had an abusive father and was in more than one abusive relationship throughout her life. And Halle Berry is not alone in this struggle. Rock and roll legend Tina Turner survived abuse. She made history by selling 100 million records worldwide, and as the first Black rock star woman to sell out football stadiums. Tina spent years being violently abused by her ex-husband Ike Turner, which caused her to develop multiple disabilities. Tina Turner sustained third-degree burns on her face from her abusive ex-husband throwing hot coffee at her. She had numerous broken nose injuries and had to undergo reparative surgery from repeated blows to the face by her abuser. She even attempted suicide, dealt with mental illness, and had nightmares recalling the abuse for many, many years. Many domestic abuse survivors deal with a lifetime of PTSD and mental illness from the violence they spent years enduring. Tina Turner spoke about how when she came forward and she was laughed at by the world for telling us that she was an abuse victim. This continues with countless memes and videos mocking the near deadly abuse and violence that she endured at the hands of Ike Turner. And rappers and singers are constantly using her abuse as a punchline in their lyrics or an analogy. There are even memes about Halle Berry running back to Black men after failed relationships with white men, despite her saying she's been abused in numerous relationships, not naming the race of her abusers. People find comedy in violence against Black women of all generations, and that's sick. It seems like nothing has changed. There hasn't been a famous Black woman who has experienced domestic violence who hasn't been laughed at, mocked, or called a liar by the public. Their male abusers are defended and extended more empathy than the victims ever will be given. Their humanity as victims doesn't exist, as they are seen not as survivors, but as deserving of the worst type of violence. This includes women like Megan Thee Stallion, Rihanna, of course, Halle Berry, Keke Palmer, Lil' Kim, K. Michelle, of course, Tina Turner, Anita Hill, and the late Whitney Houston. Again, disabilities can result from domestic violence. Megan Thee Stallion dealt with mental illness and was open about having suicidal ideations after being shot by Tory Lanez. She even rapped about it in her music. This inspired her to start a mental health resource site called Bad Bitches Have Bad Days Too. Hip-hop artists, celebrities, and the public are still clowning her from having bullet fragments in her feet and demanding her abuser be released from prison with the hashtag Free Tory Lanez. It's a damn shame. Rihanna came from an abusive household and watched her mother being beaten by her father. As a result, Rihanna had chronic headaches as a child and had to have scans to find the cause. And doctors could not identify what the medical issue was. But the headaches completely stopped after her parents finally separated. When a fellow famous singer abused Rihanna, photos of her battered face were leaked to the media. And nearly over a decade later, she is still being blamed for causing the violence against her. She's falsely accused of hitting her abuser first, and images of her abuse were turned into memes. Rapper Eminem supported Chris Brown, and in a leaked song, he said he would have beaten Rihanna too. Bobby Brown abused Whitney Houston, and their toxic relationship became a joke amongst comedians and tabloids. The same goes for Lil' Kim and Biggie Smalls, Dr. Dre and Dee Barnes, and more Black women. They deserve better, and there is an undeniable connection between disability, mental illness, physical disabilities, domestic abuse, and misogynoir. We owe it to them to do better, as they are Black disabled history makers.